Hey everyone, Jesse Martinez here with Matsui International, visiting Ranger at Norman Roscoe in Denton, Texas. And this is a big surprise. He wasn't expecting me to show up. I just showed up and we had a conversation about, what, a month ago?
Yeah.
And so I'm really happy to have the opportunity to come in and actually see his shop and see all the water-based spraying he's doing. If you guys are ever in Denton, Texas, you got to stop by and see the shop. It's amazing, phenomenal. Love all the vintage stuff here.
Thank you.
The reason I want to put him on video here while I'm on the road is I want him to talk to you all about printing water-based and how his transition into water-based kind of happened and his experiences with water-based. So I'll let you, talk a little bit about what you got going on here and some of your experiences with water-based.
Sure. Like you touched on, we come from a very vintage inspired aesthetic. I actually was in the vintage clothing industry for about 15 years before I ever printed a shirt. So I was very influenced by prints of the 70s and the 80s, and I wanted to recapture that look. And so being ignorant and just starting with the typical garage setup, speedball ink, Hobby Lobby type thing, I wasn't real familiar with different inks, plastisol, water-based, and back when we started, we didn't have Facebook. It was more of getting on forums and looking at the t-shirt forums or whatever these old forums were. And so you get so much information, good and bad, about what inks to use, what's the proper thing to do. And I guess there's some truth in you have to learn the rules before you can break the rules. And we did a lot of that, where we got the proper rules and then we started figuring out how to do things the other way. But it was through learning one plastisol that we started to figure out that water-based would probably get us closer to the feel we were wanting to achieve. Although we had learned about reducing inks and putting them through higher mesh counts, different durometers of squeegees, all those things could help with plastisol. Water-based is really something that we felt could give us the ultimate feel. And it's funny because a lot of people recommended getting into plasticharge instead of going fully into water-based, that would somehow be easier. What we found was that was the worst of both worlds. We were getting the worst aspects of plastisol and the worst aspects of water-based. So then it wasn't long before I was in a shop in Dallas that was printing for a large company, and all I saw along the entire wall were these big parrots on these ink containers. And I said, man, that's a cool, I'm very aesthetically driven, so I thought, well, that's cool packaging. What ink is that? They said, that's Matsui, that's what we use for all of this. We use either Nike or something like that at the time. And I said, well, I want to try that ink. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. And so we ended up ordering in what I could. Someone mentioned Jesse's name on a forum about Matsui. And I thought, well, this guy, if he's the main rep out in California or wherever it was, he's going to be too busy for me. But I said, I'll just text him and see. It wasn't 5 minutes later, I got a text back from him. He was giving me tips on how much additive to put in the ink, what ratios to do for discharge, double the pigment, do this for this. If you really want to get the color on red right, do 3% instead of 5%. I mean, all this great information that it would have taken me so much trial and error to get. He was just rapid firing, texting me these things, and it made the transition, well, first of all, it's very easy to use. We still use Matsui to this day because the base we found lasts in the screen longest. It's very easy to start printing with if you leave it alone for a while. But on top of that, the formulas are great, and what was I forgot what I was going to say right there.
Are you using water-based on both manual press and automatic?
Yes, so Ruth's printing behind me with water-based right now, all 3 colors, and Zach is doing a water-based discharge job right now as well. And we do it all day long, every day, and it's great. We love it.
What's the temperature out here right now?
It's probably pushing 100 degrees outside. And in the shop, I mean, it's not cold, but it's not terrible.
It feels good. It's comfortable.
And we're in a 100-year-old building, so this is not an efficient building, but it still feels comfortable.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you taking the opportunity to get on video. I think there's a lot of printers out there looking to get into water-based currently, and this is a good opportunity for them to hear it from somebody who's actually worked with plastisol, worked with plasticharge, and now working with water-based.
Yeah, and I will say we're not a 100% water-based shop. There's a lot of shops that say they're 100% this or that. There's still certain applications where certain inks work better than others, but we use water-based or discharge as often as we can. When the job allows for it, we prefer it.
That's awesome. Well, Ranger, I really appreciate, and I'm glad I got to meet you in person, and I'm glad I was able to help. My intentions are to help, and any opportunity I get to be able to help, I want to be that person. There's only one of me to go around, so if I don't get back to you fast enough, you know, I will eventually get back to you. But that's why I want to do these videos too, because I want to build that confidence. I think it's important for every shop to have different offerings, not just only plastisol. And I'm not here to convince anybody to go 100% water-based. That's not my goal. It's just another option or another offering for your customer base. So we'll see you on the next video, the next shop, when I get back on the road. Thank you.